In the world of ReZero, we have all kinds of power systems, but there's one power that was created to display the absolute unfairness of the world and to reinforce that there are some who are loved more by the world than others. To have an ability bestowed to you the moment that you're born into the world, this is what it means to possess a divine protection. A divine protection is a power that originates from the heart of the world, Od Laguna, and being blessed with a divine protection is an extremely rare occurrence and usually a sign of the world having a bias for you at the bare minimum. Divine protections range from allowing you to dodge all projectiles in the world no matter what, to increasing your skill with a certain type of magic, to giving you the ability to differentiate salt and sugar easily. It's like a randomly generated bonus trait in a video game. To put into perspective how rare it is to possess a divine protection, you have a 1 out of 100 chance of being born with a useless one, 1 out of 1,000 chance of being born with a useful one, 1 out of 10,000 chance for a somewhat rare one, 1 out of 100,000 chance of getting a pretty good one, 1 out of 1 million chance of getting a unique one, and 1 out of 10 million chance of being born with 2. There are some exceptions to the rules I just went over of obtaining a divine protection, but this is how most of them work. So with that explanation done, I'll be explaining every single divine protection and their users in ReZero. If you enjoy content such as this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe in order to let me know that you'd like more of it. And now, let's get into it. To begin, we have the divine protection of wind reading. Krush is the one who possesses this divine protection, and as his namesake suggests, she can read the wind. But she can take this a step further and combine it with her wind magic in order to enhance it to a point where it's actually pretty powerful and can hurt a lot of characters in the series. Or she can use it to read the emotions of whoever she may be speaking to. She can even use it to tell if someone's lying to her straight up, which makes it not only a very powerful tool for wind magic users, but for negotiation and communication purposes as well. It's certainly one of the more rare divine protections. Next up is the divine protection of durability. This is one of those divine protections that doesn't come from someone being born with it or anything like that, but instead it was engraved into the armor that Krush wears by Od Laguna, most likely when it was crafted. This divine protection makes the armor far more durable than it normally is, as long as whoever's wearing it hasn't exhausted their mana supply. The divine protection of wind evasion is a divine protection that's owned by all earth dragons such as Patrash and Reinhard von Estrella. This allows its users to not be affected by wind and resistance when in motion. This also applies to anybody they may be carrying while moving. This is a divine protection that's active and not passive, so you'll have to actually activate it in order for it to be used. It also has a cooldown. The divine protection of the death god belongs to Reinhard's grandmother, Theresia von Estrella. If a user of this divine protection ever leaves any wounds on their opponents, the wounds can never be fully healed. These same wounds left on the opponent will also be open if the user of the ability comes close to them, and they open more and more the closer that the user is. This ability can also extend itself. For example, if I got a cut on my hand by somebody with the ability and I removed my hand so I wouldn't have to deal with it, whatever wound is left behind from me cutting off my hand will now be the wound that's affected by the divine protection. All of these effects will go away once the original user of the divine protection passes away. The divine protection of demon manipulation is possessed by Meili. This is the little blue-haired girl we used to see with Elsa, and this is one of the few divine protections that only one person can possess, meaning that somebody like Reinhard can't just get it even if he really needed it. This divine protection allows the user to manipulate witch beasts, but the 3 great witch beasts are the exceptions to the rule, and there are some issues completely controlling very powerful witch beasts, but you can still manipulate them a little bit regardless. Overall, this is one of the better divine protections in the series despite its limitations. Now we get to Garfield's divine protection, the divine protection of earth spirits. This one is pretty simple yet overpowered as all hell. As long as Garfield can keep his feet on the ground, his body will be reinforced by the earth itself, making him way more durable than most. Also, he heals his wounds and stamina extremely fast. It basically makes Garfield, who's already pretty strong, into a Terminator. Next, we have the divine protection of the soul of language. This divine protection is held by Otto, and it allows him to be able to speak to many different kinds of organisms such as cats or even earth dragons like Patrash, but there are a couple of drawbacks to this. 1. Otto will always speak in the language of whatever he's speaking to, so he's always going to look insane from the perspective of others. 2. If you can't master the divine protection, you will go insane as you'll hear everything speaking all at once and just hear constant noise forever. And 3rd, using the ability too much will cause you to bleed out of your nose, and the effect will only get worse the more the ability is used. Despite these drawbacks, we see that Otto is still able to communicate with animals as much as he needs to, and that this divine protection is still very potent. Despite these drawbacks, it's still a very good divine protection. We also have divine protections of elements such as water, yin, yang, earth, etc. Ferris possesses the water one, which automatically makes him great at water magic, and we can just assume the same for all the other elements, although we don't know their users. We also have the divine protection of gathering spirits that allows Julius to see and communicate with common spirits. This is why he has so many compared to everybody else. He uses a lot of spirit magic and things of that nature. He can actually build a relationship with all spirits, even the common ones. The next divine protection we have is the divine protection of telepathy. This one is possessed by both Reinhard and Liliana, and as its name suggests, it gives the users telepathy. It's limited by only allowing the user to communicate with close friends, but as we've seen with Liliana, she's actually able to combine this divine protection with her music in order to make it more potent and transcend just friendships only. This divine protection serves as a strong counter to the effects of Sirius's soul washing when used in combination with Liliana's music that moves the hearts of those around her. The divine protection of trisection is one used by Mimi, Tivi, and Etaro. These are the little triplet cat mages who are in the Anastasia camp. This divine protection allows the 3 of these cat mages to withstand and split all of their damage and burdens. It can even be used to split attacks that would normally eliminate one of the 3, but of course, the split damage is going to hurt them each real bad. They're also aware of the conditions of the others at all times, so if one passes out, the other 2 are gonna know. The divine protection of the Sword Saint is one that's usually held by one Estrella that's alive, with Reinhard being the current user, while Teresia von Estrella was the past user. All current users will automatically know who their successor is. For example, Teresia knew that Reinhard was gonna be the next Sword Saint. It was just a matter of when. Whenever being chosen by this divine protection to be its user, you will automatically become the Sword Saint and have all of your potential drawn out instantly. The user will also be given the ability to see lines that will show you the future actions of your opponent's sword if they use one. Meanwhile, you're given the optimal choice to make in the face of said decisions. Apparently, a being that is referred to as the Sword God is writing out all of these lines for the user to follow. So from here on out, descriptions are going to be more quick, so I'll just refer to divine protections by their abilities only, so you don't hear me say the divine protection of 100 more times. With that said, let's continue. Empathy is one that allows the user to understand the feelings of someone that they make physical contact with. Some people who are trained in this ability can even make 2 different people understand one another, but the user of this divine protection is never named in the story. Sun is the divine protection that allows Priscilla to gain strength whenever it's daytime outside. Mind Speak. This is exactly like telepathy, but it's only in between 2 people and it can only be used once a day. This is possessed by Gracis and Flam, who are twin sisters from the Felt camp. Something that makes this divine protection very powerful is the fact that there are no limitations on it besides the one-time use. So they can be across the world from one another, something can happen to one, and the other can alert Reinhard, and he'll instantly appear and save the twin in danger. Or if she's out with a camp or something, right, and they need Reinhard, they can just, call Reinhard using the other one and he'll be right there. It's overall quite powerful because of the fact that these 2 belong in the Felt camp. Distant Vision is a divine protection that was used by some guy in Lagunica. It allows people to see the exact place that someone is at, or it can let them observe their opponents. The guy isn't too important or relevant, so don't worry about him. Ambushing is a divine protection that is bestowed to all werewolves in ReZero. It allows all werewolves to have an increased level of stealth that makes it very hard for most people to locate them. You can also skin a wolf and use their pelt and clothing or armor in order to obtain this divine protection as well, as their divine protection sticks with their pelt. Morale allows the user to gain or lose strength depending on their current morale. This ability serves as a double-edged sword, as you can either become very powerful from having positive morale, or become very weak due to being depressed. Medium Okano is the one who has this divine protection. Lastly, Felt has a divine protection that she used against Elsa, but we don't really know much else about it and we don't even have the name to it. Elsa did point out that it was a divine protection that allowed Felt to dash toward her so fast, so we know that Felt has a divine protection. Here's where we get into all of the divine protections that Reinhardt alone possesses. Now brace yourself, as this is going to be a laundry list of nonsense that most of the time he doesn't even need. Now keep in mind that Reinhardt doesn't even need any of these divine protections to destroy the cast. He just has them because he has them. Reinhardt first has mind changing. This allows him to, you guessed it, change the mind of anybody he spoke to. There is a very sad story behind why Reinhardt would choose to get rid of this divine protection, but of course, it is probably the strongest divine protection that somebody can have, as it's been made clear that whoever has it can easily topple nations, and everybody in the verse goes on a witch hunt for whoever has this ability. People just do whatever you want them to when you have it, so there's a reason why people thought it was such a huge threat. Reinhardt also has Phoenix, which will revive him if he's eliminated, and then he has Phoenix Next, that revives him again, and if this is used, he'll get Phoenix Next, and so on and so forth. He'll endlessly get revived. Judgment, allowing him to see any divine protections that someone else may have. Anti-magic, making him immune to all magic buffs, debuffs, and Jujutsu. Anti-malignance, making him have increased resistance to the witch's miasma, which tends to make people go insane. 6 different elemental resistances with different effects for each. He'll reflect 80% of water magic, cut 80% of damage from fire magic, absorb 80% of wind magic, weaken earth magic by 80%, nullify 80% of yin magic, and transfer 80% of yang magic to other targets. Reinhardt is both projectile evasion and striking. Everything thrown at him will just choose to change their trajectory and not hit him. Meanwhile, everything he throws will always hit its targets no matter what. Blue skies allowing him to be stronger when the sky is blue, Terry skies allowing him to be stronger when it's raining, New skies allowing him to be stronger in the morning, Night skies allowing him to be stronger at night. Initiative will allow Reinhardt's first attack on anybody to always land, meanwhile never allowing him to be hit by any surprise attacks that may be coming his way. First Sight will allow Reinhardt to instantly know how to counter any attacks he may be dealing with, and this doesn't activate if an attack is both unavoidable and cannot be countered. Second Sight will allow him to easily deal with any attacks he's seeing for the second time. Even attacks from someone as powerful as Volcanica could not land on him. Salt Reasoning, preventing Reinhardt from mixing up salt and sugar. Child of Wind, preventing illness from ever finding its way to Reinhardt. Panacea, preventing disease. Poison Nullification, preventing poison. Drafts, allowing Reinhardt to know all escape routes from anywhere he may be. Gardening, allowing Reinhardt to learn how to garden much faster than anybody else could. Sand Play, preventing Reinhardt from sinking into sand. Air Dashing, allowing him to kick the air in order to fly like Sanji from One Piece. Weapon God, allowing Reinhardt master anything that he touches. Lakes, allowing him to walk on water if he chooses. Fog, preventing him from being blinded by fog. Clouds, allowing him to walk on clouds. Lightning Cloud, preventing lightning from ever hitting Reinhardt. Swift Running, allowing him to move at insanely fast speeds. Training, allowing Reinhardt to be much better at training himself or others who want to learn from him. Unarmed Combat, making him a master at hand-to-hand combat. Handling, allowing him to master any tool or item that he possesses. Riding Vehicles and riding animals, allowing him to ride any vehicle or animal that he wants. Shedding Blood, allowing him to become more powerful the more blood that he sheds. Photorealism, allowing him to be so good at art that when he draws, it's almost as if people think he took a picture with a camera. Fashion, allowing him to be good at designing clothes. Hairdressing, making him a great hairdresser. Instruction, allowing him to guide his students better. Fried, steamed, roasted, baked, and boiled food, each one allowing him to cook each type of food better. Flavor King, making his food taste even better despite the method of cooking them. Plating, allowing him to be better at serving the food that he's made. And Fresh Sashimi, making him good at preparing sushi and sashimi. Lastly, Arithmetic, making Reinhardt a math genius. Reinhardt also has a few non-canon divine protections such as Tug of War, averting of being stolen from, and letting someone else take the spotlight. That's all of Reinhardt's divine protections currently, and keep in mind that if the world feels as if he needs more, he'll just be blessed with another. Lastly, we have some non-canon divine protections that aren't possessed by Reinhardt. First, there's sorcery, which was what Roswell had in the web novel, which serves as the first draft of ReZero light novels, but it was removed when the light novel would be published. This divine protection allowed Roswell to use magic perfectly and have access to all 6 magic attributes. Roswell can still do this, but he just has it off of his own merit rather than a divine protection in the light novels, which I will say is a good change. Another one that was removed from the first draft was the divine protection of Earth, and this just makes anything it's imbued to more powerful than it already is. This was in the first draft of the Arc 7 novels, but was removed for the final draft. Lastly, we have the divine protection of insensitivity, which is from the ReZero video game, and it allows the user to ignore all outside influences that are related to things such as enhancements, mind control, things of that nature. He can still take damage from attacks though. Saving the best for last, we have Bedroom Wiles, and this is possessed by Camberly, one of the 3 street thugs from the beginning of the series, and this allows the user to be really good in bed. This about covers all the divine protections in ReZero, and thank you so much for watching until the end. If you have any ideas, anything you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll take a look, of course. Thank you guys for watching again. Thank you. We'll always be grateful, and peace out.